Sashi Begi Joshi Medo Dan Lira Lishi Ninde Kemba Sange Jindo Mide Uwaye Jogu Namdashi Java Sho Idam Gurura Namadara Kaniya Kaya Me
Teacher. Yeah, we're on page 148.
Teacher, Mamma Yebe, she Chimmer, Shiban, Dimba, Shadow, Meber, Tambana, Mobutan, who could she did the Meber, can you share the Tangi 1 minute. That is. Teacher said that you got a major city. Sashimi. Then, when you got a major, then I chever, how to share somebody. Mobula, Rango, to the shield. Mumala, Taji color. Let me saw. Enjoy the rest. You got a major city. Dashi, no Batiriva. You got a major city. To the good thing here is in a good answer to Mumal than the yes.
Well, as I mentioned, we're on page 148, about the middle there. Yeah, where it says similarly, Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise says. So, what this is all about is the. Okay, so there was this quote from the Fundamental Wisdom, middle of page 147. So, to say it exists is a conception of permanence. To say it does not exist is a view of annihilation. No, that's not quite it. It's where Nagarjuna is quoted as saying that yes. Yeah, so you're a nihilist if you say something previously existed and then now later on doesn't exist. And so this is an argument. Now here in the text, the Amazon Kappa is dealing with an argument aimed at, or argument with the realist, the normal.
How would you tell me about Sati? Rashi to be Shisha, Rashi to be Shisha Jenny. Any Mari Chimer, Shibsuna, the Chetal Fungrace, Kanye Rashi to a cannon, Mamma Valea, Rashi to a cannon, Taji Tanya and Jugris, Shiria. That the Karesina. Rashi Tuna, Chetal Tunya the Karesina. Rashi Kutuba in Ken Kalayam Diva. Nekubiaris. You told me about Chingu. Yet, you Namkisine, Nekubia. In Neku in a double activities. When you would it, Rashi Kutuba in a do Namkit Sinea, you Kubris. Who to generate Marva. Nichi to generate Namshilum happy children, Kijan, turning every chatted. What I should do Maris. I is a Rashi to know. Ken Kanayam the Diva. Do that necklace. He never thought about activities, Kurana. That about it and DJ. Chavar Tedandi. Rashi to you good in reality. Chicken at the Shigaris and it's chattery to grace. Rashi to a Kanishi, Muye, and it Chimala, may have a chance. Then in their chat. They made it.
Okay, so we have this passage from Nagarjuna which talks about how you're a nihilist if you say something arose previously and then later ceased to exist. And so what he's saying there is that when you accept that something exists by its own nature, which is the realist position, something exists by nature, and then you say such a thing used to exist, then later on stopped existing, then if you make such an assertion, then that would be the extreme view of nihilism. In fact, you would you'd have the fault of asserting both extremes, the eternalist extreme or permanent extreme, or the extreme of existence, and then the extreme of non-existence, the nihilist extreme. So the question is how you would end up being a nihilist when you're saying things exist by nature. So the thing is, when you say something exists by nature, you're saying that it doesn't depend upon any causes and conditions. So while it's there, then it doesn't depend upon causes and conditions. So you're saying that it's like in the case of the sprout, for example, the sprout growing from the seed. So the sprout would always have been there. Why? Because it exists by nature, therefore it doesn't depend upon cause and conditions. So you wouldn't say that it came into being dependent upon cause and conditions. It doesn't depend upon cause and conditions. So you have to say it's always been there. So it's like it's there permanently. And then how the nihilist extreme comes about is that you say that thing which previously did exist now ceases to exist. And because it's something that exists by nature that has now ceased to exist, it would have to be totally non-existent. It would mean that it has become totally non-existent. And that would be the nihilist extreme.
그냥 라시고 죽었는데 규정 가능한 메트가 임바. 남주와 라시고 죽었어야 돼 그래서는 라시고 죽어랑 문 죽어 랑팅이 죽었어야 돼. 라운드 죽을 제비임바. 가능한 메트가 죽었지. 가능한 메트가 죽었지 야마에 쓰게를 봐. 다티는 유그로지네 유그디 가능한 메트가 죽어있는 그 따드네 그래. 따드네 걔는 따 따버타와세들 유그리스. 다 무라시고 두바데 라시고 두바 뭐고 강시 무중 치수 주장을 때는 매 지수는 시바되나 니 체다들이 균 때는 매가 체도리 균 때는 매가 체도리 저는 체버타와 되게 예스제 그래 다시 그 되수는 다 야나니 따들네도 야나니 체들네도 어디를 봤다 제서 란싱 두바세티 삼루타야 디바 가나양 두바세 이제 텐제세티 초탐제 텐제 인세티 때는 두바리 긴자리 가시 도발을 뜨니 샤브 두 번째로 최도수 도발을 뜨니 샤브를 봐 도바이는 여가지 도배 다즘스 도바면은 매거를 봐 근데 도발을 뜨니 샤두게를 봐 야 당시를 뜨니 샤두 뭐고 강고 뒤에는 뜨니 샤두를 봐 제사 텐제리 근데 텐제 있는 자식이 맞고 있는 거 나시고 두는 텐제만 있는 거 다들 다들 모두 개체야 어디래 라시고 급세야 돼 고차고야 돼 그뒤에 라시고 두버스니 됐다 그 뒤는 마시는 강글로 레인 제사 라시고 급지디 마야고지 니에바이나 니 디스
No. When we say something exists by nature, it would mean existing independently. So something like through its own power, so independent of anything else, which would imply not depending upon conditions at all. So if it exists, then it would always have to exist. It would always have to exist. So that means that dependent arising. So that wouldn't work. So usually we say existing by its own nature, existing inherently, self-existent, they all mean the same thing. They all mean the same thing, really. So if you have a sprout that exists by its own nature, then it would have to exist permanently. It would have to be there permanently. And this is, this is a situation we describe as the permanent extreme, the eternalist extreme, but anyway, daktas, or the permanent extreme. So now, if you say that something that exists by its own nature, it came into being previously, it arose previously, and then later became non-existent. When it becomes non-existent, as soon as you say it's become non-existent, you're going to have to say it becomes totally non-existent. Even there's no continuity. There's nothing continuous. It completely becomes completely non-existent. So you've got one fault or the other, one problem or the other. You've got the problem of the thing literally abiding in the permanent extreme, or abiding in, existing in the nihilist extreme. So really the main thing to understand is, when we say existing by its own nature, that means it has to be something that doesn't depend upon anything else. Now we say that everything is a dependent arising. Everything depends upon something else. Like, for example, permanent phenomena. There are permanent phenomena, right? Those depend upon the conceptual mind which imputes them. Because we say everything which exists is mere imputation by or projection by the conceptual mind. So if something is not imputed by the conceptual mind, it doesn't exist. So therefore, everything which exists depends upon the conceptual mind which imputes on it. So, and clearly we can say about any thing, in the sense of, like an effective phenomenon or an impermanent phenomenon, that it depends upon cause and conditions. So again, the main thing to understand is existing by nature means not dependent upon anything. The main thing to understand is that. If you can understand that point, if you can get an idea of what that means to exist by nature, then the whole of the rest of the text makes sense. All the rest of the text will be clear to you.
란싱기 나 란싱기 지란싱기 매바 어느 탄이도 매봤어 어느 매지 저어야 돼 란싱기 옆에 제다 지제 탄이도 매번디나 제대로 봐 란싱기 옆에 되는 그래 다다
다다리 오늘
탄이도 매번디나
제다
제대로 봐 제대로지 아니 디리스 다디 탄이도 매번 디나다 튕기 뭐구마나 니가 우리 세티카에서 란싱기 여바시 치 매버치 시바다스나 제대로 니그리 세티 그 조이바 다다데티 예치 자와 다바지 세티 지다 본바 여반지 수는 따타르 니그리 베스나 따타 세티 지다 따발 시리야 따발 네스나 라시기 유나 따발 네고 그러 따발 네스나 따타 티스 따바티그리스 뭐부간시 다 매지 저세 타니도 매번 따나 제대로 디제 유명이가라 케베네바미죠 이 유명이가라 케베네바미죠 이 케바이나 케바스 음악하기 다탈레니 말이 스레시 비트발네 말이 비나 pom바디 라시기 유바탄 말이스 타니도 매바탄 말이스 라시기 매바탄이야 타니도 매바탄 말 매지 자와 세티 라시기 유바 세티 라시기 유바체 매지 세티 라시기 매바스나 니 디시 말바 라시기 유바탄 따다레티 라시기 매바탄 제대로 말바 음티 유바 라시 매바 따기야바 따디인사 케베디니 우스 네바자스 우스 야 네바자스 따다다 체다니가 니 말이스 디니 바나야 니 말이스 디니 바르티야 따지기 타니다 제와디야 라시기 두바던 말이지 디니 바나야 메네세티 따지기 타니다 제와스기르바 케베네 바미자스 케베 음마베 따탈레니 말이 제달레니 말이스 디니 바레니 말이세티 제가 따지기 타니다 제와디에 라시기 두바 니 말이스 라시기 두바던 말이스 다 디니 바나 세디 가르스 그래서 예바이 마이 네바이 마이 디니 바나야 메스네 니다티 예바 마이 네바 마이 예바 마이 네바 마이 시티리리아 디스 우스 제베나 다데 란루티 예지 자와 타바라지체
여바야마이 매바야마이 니가야마이스
다시 니가야마이 저래 케베네바 마치 다란루르티 그래스나 예바야마이 스라시기 두번 다탈레니 말이스라 타니도 매바티 네 말이스 주든자는 시기 두발라 단 주든자는 시기 두발에 네 말이스 단 말바 타니도 매바티 단 말바 땡큐베 타니도 매바다 시기 두발 니 바나야 다제기 타니도 제 바르드네야 네기를 베스나 지단 반은 내버려 다지기 타니도 저 위들은 내버려 이 반은 내버만 있으면 다지기 타니도 저 위디야는 식이 다와 말이지 나 다지기 타니도 저 동반이 디야는 식이 또 말봐 Tony Tajang Tony the Utica shelters to me indulge. The other she never thought of. Not the union, the never matter. Or that this year.
So we have this this passage from the Fundamental Treatise, which is quoted in the middle of page 147, where it says, "To say it exists is a conception of permanence. To say it does not exist is a conception of is a view of annihilation. Hence, the learned should not dwell in either existence or non-existence." Okay, so yeah, so generally speaking, of course, things do exist, and how and so in general, to say something exists isn't an extreme, it isn't a permanent extreme, not grasping at the permanent extreme. But if you say something exists by nature, if you view it in that way, that's the view of the permanent extreme. So then when you say that something which exists by nature, later on it ceases, then that would be the nihilist extreme. And so then Nagarjuna goes on to say that the learned should not dwell in either existence or non-existence. So of course, this isn't talking about the idea that one should grasp the things as being both existent and non-existent. So rather, when it says existing, so you've got those two ideas, existing and not existing. Existing means existing by nature. So that would be the permanent extreme. And then later, such a thing becoming non-existent, so that's saying it does not exist. Later holding the thing that exists by its own nature later becomes non-existent. That would be the nihilist extreme. Okay, so then, for example, if you were to say that the vase exists, that wouldn't be an extreme. That wouldn't be the permanent extreme. But if you were to say that, if you were to grasp that the vase is existing by nature, then that would be grasping at the eternalist extreme, or the permanent extreme. Then saying such a vase, which exists by its own nature, then becomes non-existent, that would be the nihilist extreme. So existing by nature is the permanent extreme. Then not even existing conventionally, that's the nihilist extreme, right? Permanent extreme, nihilist extreme. So when it says here, to say it exists is a conception of permanence. So grasping or apprehending is just another way of saying the same word, translating the same word. Grasping or apprehending the vase as existing, that's okay. Apprehending or grasping the vase existing by nature, that would be grasping at the permanent extreme. In the middle way system, we wouldn't say that the vase exists by nature, and we also wouldn't say that it doesn't exist conventionally. So existing by nature, that would be the permanent extreme. Doesn't even exist conventionally, that would be the nihilist extreme. So the middle way proponents wouldn't say that the vase exists by nature, and they also wouldn't say that that it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist even conventionally. So what we do say is that the vase doesn't exist by nature. We do say that, but that's not the middle. That's not the nihilist extreme. To say something doesn't exist by nature. because what you're doing is you're simply negating existence by nature, right? So you're saying it doesn't exist by nature. If you say it does exist by nature, that would be the permanent extreme. So you're saying it doesn't exist by nature. Okay, so then let's look at what Nagarjuna says about, says in the last two lines. Hence, the learned should not dwell in either existence or non-existence. So, in one way, what this is saying is that you also, the learned should also not dwell in either existence or non-existence. Means they should also not say that, they should not hold the idea, that because things neither exist by nature nor are empty of even existing conventionally, that therefore they abide in the middle inherently. Okay, so they have to, so Nagarjuna is encouraging, the learned, or encouraging us not to think that things are like empty of the two extremes by nature. Just like, you've heard the idea that in the Madhyamika system, we would even say that emptiness itself doesn't exist by nature. So emptiness itself is empty. So so in general, it is true that everything does abide in the middle, in this, free of the two extremes, neither existing by nature nor totally non-existent. In other words, not even conventionally, not even existing conventionally. Okay, so the middle way is free of those two extremes. So everything which exists does abide in the middle between those two, but you shouldn't grasp them as existing in the middle, free of those two extremes, inherently by nature. That's the thing to avoid. Okay, so that's it.
Uma said, Uma Pasi to caresses in a Tajegi Tanya to Util and Yantil Uma Pas Lavima. Tajegi Tanya to Uti Karishasana, Rashi to the Tomba Nitishari. Rashi to the Tomba Nitilla, Usigari. Icares Tata Tartubati Cabra, Rashi to Bacani, Rashi man city, Rashi to Baticace. Rashi man city, man Sigiyama. Tigacaresina, Rashi man city tamba Koyat, man Simalavicha, Rashi man city tamba, Rashi to Bacani, Mabati Kagayama, man Seati. Just a tigi Rashi to the Tomba Nitilla, Taji Tani to Jess, Rashi to the Paka Tani to Maba Maimbaji, Nito Dirva, Rashi to the Tomba to Nitil, Umasigir. T Umasikoya to the Rashi to Baka Tatatika. Ani Rashi to Bakane, Tani to Yogati Magabache, Nito Diriterva. Rashi to Baka, Megati, Rashi to Baka Bechane Tata Tete, Tani to Yobechane, Cheta Teteoreva, Tike Limberva. Just Umasia Titi, Karishas in Rashi to the Tombatisha, Tuniti. Tuniti Kalimba in Rashi to the Tombati Kalimba in Uma Pasi. Tati, Tau. Uma Bayesatati, Util and Naso Messina. Dini Panaya Minesia, Parati, Caresana, Tajik Tani to Utilba. Tell a Nedva. Think, think of it. Tau Til Menesia to Care, Panaya Menesia to Caresenata. Tomba Nidia, Rashi to Batagiamarva. Thinking Panaya Menesia, the Tiri Mishachi. Tini bargi umat utili neverba. 어때 미네스야티 가르레스네 딩이 케베 딩이 발라야 미네스야티 어디세 다치사 아니 우마시니티 가르 네 우마 바스야티 우마디 켈린데 차네 우마 바스기야라 우마디 가르 레시미 투데 뚱니 티샤 이 우마 인다 가르스네 따바다데 따다다데 차네 차드 체다다데 차드 니 유이데바 딩니데 데베 기데레 시게르바 디타다 데베 기데레 유시게르바 니나 유이데레 샤시디tumba 데마샤 데마샤 기데 샤시게르바 어디인서티 기디 가르스네 지 따다임바 지 체다임바 딩니데 데베 유이디 라이시 주베 뚱니 티체 딩니가 데시르바 따다데 체다데 이 덴디 참디 예레 야르바 어디 인산 어디레 디체렘바 인산이 음마바 시체 인산에 때 위들레 내수나 이 딩이 바나에 메네세야 딩이 바르데 위들바 딜레 내수나 오늘 바나에 메네세야 가르데 시그레스 이 라시기 또 우마디야 라시기 메바다 딜레야 템바네바 딩이 바로 우마디야 라시기 두바타 마르바 라시기 메바타 바르바 바나에 메네세야 디오디리스
So yeah, the centrists, I guess you could say, or Madhyamikas. So they so according to this tradition, the centrist position, then the centrists are the ones who assert the center, the middle. Okay, what that means is they assert emptiness, which is the middle, which means free of the two extremes. So the two extremes that they're free of. So according to the Madhyamikas, particularly in the Prasangika system, we would say that phenomena do not exist by nature. So existence by nature is refuted, but the existence is not refuted. So we wouldn't say that phenomena don't exist. We say they don't exist by nature. What's refuted is the existence by nature, not the existence by nature. Existence is not negated. So existence by nature is refuted, existence is not refuted. And emptiness is the center. It's the center, which means it's the center. In what that means is that it's free of those two extremes. So the one extreme being the existence by nature. So the existence by nature is the negated. Existing by nature would mean that you have the permanent extreme. So the center, which is emptiness, is free of that extreme, the permanent extreme. Also, we don't negate existence, only existence by nature, right? We don't negate existence. So we don't negate conventional existence. Conventionally, phenomena do exist. They don't exist by nature, but they do exist conventionally. So both emptiness is a combination of the two, a refutation of existing by nature, and also not negating existence, conventional existence. Which, I mean, existence means conventional existence, right? So when we talk about, we often say actually the middle way, but literally the Uma is like is the center, the center. So the center is the emptiness of existing by nature. And a centrist is somebody who accepts that, who asserts that. So we have the idea of, literally abiding in the center, so like being in the center. So actually, according to the Prasangika system, everything which exists is in the center, free of the two extremes. So then what does it mean to say that when Nagarjuna says, hence the learned should not dwell in either existence or non-existence? So they're using the word dwell instead of abide, so it's the same thing. Okay, so what does it mean to say that one shouldn't, the learned should not dwell in either existence or non-existence, since everything which exists is in the middle between those two extremes? Why is Nagarjuna saying you shouldn't say that they are in the center between those extremes? So what he's actually saying is that everything which exists is empty, it is free of those two extremes, does abide in that center, but not by nature, not inherently. And so, again, when we talk about the centrists or Madhyamika, then what that means is somebody who accepts the center. The center is emptiness. It's the center between, in a sense, the two extremes, the permanent extreme and the nihilist extreme. So it's just like we would say, don't put the cup on this side, this extreme. Don't put it on that extreme. Put it in the middle between those two extremes. So the cup, in that case, would be between those two extremes. Not at that extreme, not at that extreme. In other words, not at that side, not that side, but in the middle. And so, actually, then, where everything which exists, so everything which exists dwells in the center, free of the two extremes, and dwells or exists as a subtle dependent arising. So when the texts talk about not abiding in the center, what it means is not existing in the center, in the middle, free of those two extremes inherently.
Teacher said it.
Lale.
Teacher said it. No, teacher. Teacher, you she do chimmer, shiver, zimba, stirba.
Lale.
A teacher, do number you rashi, do chimmer, shiver, zimba, chedawala, never tumbanas. Mobile rashi, Arang to the rashi to them. Never. Can mean by you tend to do any. Cheta Tamja Tipon, Bombamino, so that did it. A teacher doing number Yuvera, she, two chimmer, shiver, zimba, Chedawala, never dumbanas. Chedawala, never dumbanas. That doing number to be ranking. Chimmer, shiver, zimbe, ni Chedawa. Never tumbas, Chedawa said, Cheda, never tumbati. Mobuna ranking will to be Rashi to them, killing by Kizento to a inji. Cheda Tamjet, Pomino, that did it. Cheda Tamjet, Pomino. Cheda Tamjet, Mama Rashi, Yuva Jinzi, Nichi Chima. Ne shibar chita kubiya mare. Jangbin patigi, man lende tinga ne meme but never kill it. ngari yu lende ngari yu chiteni namshijina ta lende yamare sijeni kela namari tambukoni never kela di cheda varais ati yinsa cheda va ngobo tamjela rang ngobo tuwe shi tuza yamma kela bato cheda tamje di pomba mayis cheda tamje di pomba maris ngama ranshing gi tumna chunga ani shingsuna tati cheda le dugri seati ngama wale tagiyari ngama wagi ngubu ranshing gi tuba kene ine ani jujengi ngubu shiba kene ngirba ni cheda le tegire sijan duksi gobre mishi jigi cheda wa tamjala ngaranshing gi tuba ku ine shibata suni chedare sungdugure sijane zigiyamare jangbeen dati lende ngari meba zinge ngari yoba jita ni tishi shibatani u chedal sungduwa marwa
Okay, so then I'm not sure exactly where this is actually. It's where it talks about the
chedapon maino de lende mebar debe chedawatam mendebe chi shen sesele kebar sungdi sita lende mebar tale chedawati da ngumawani buti ngumawati lende mebar tale chedawa marba ini ya rashingi tuba shik ngari chi ani jujale teni shibatagi yarba ati tini chedal rungdugri sil ti tebre mishuchi Jambin but the Jiba Maris, Jambin but the Numati Mugu Kelly Derba. Jambi landed on the killing game, married lady, she Nishiba the killing game. The sunny did the Jiba Maris.
Yeah, so we're towards the bottom of page 149. That's how far we got. Yeah, so here where it says it's about 5 lines up, should be this passage. Madhyamikas do not accept the existence of even a particle of existence or intrinsic existence. This fact proves that they lack one type of annihilation, the type in which it is held that an intrinsic nature that one's existence is later destroyed. It does not prove that they have a limited. No, that's not right. I think maybe it's further up in this passage, but anyway, it's around this the second half of page 149. It should be. This is not saying that all proponents of the nihilist extreme have to have the position, have to have the idea that something which existed earlier later became non-existent. Because then the realists would be right in saying we're not proponents of the extreme of nihilism, because we don't say that things used to so no, what it says in what Nagarjuna has said, or anyway what that passage said was, if you say something which exists, that's right. Yeah. If you say something which exists or came into being earlier, then later became non-existent. If you say that, then you're a proponent of what's called permanent extreme, the eternalist extreme. Nihilist extreme. So the realists are saying we never said that they were previously existing by nature, and then later on became non-existent by nature. They became like non-existent. We don't say that. We say right from the beginning things don't exist by nature. So we're not, according to Nagarjuna's description, we're not, we don't have that extreme. So then what Lama Tsongkhapa explains is that Nagarjuna isn't saying that everybody who holds the nihilistic stream must be like that. First of all, saying that things exist by nature, and then later on saying they become they're non-existent. So otherwise, if that were the case, if it were true, if that interpretation were right, then you'd have to say that the Charvakas are not proponents of the nihilistic stream, whereas they're actually the perfect example of proponents of the nihilistic stream, because they don't say that there used to be karma and its results, and then it became non-existent. They say right from the beginning, there's no karma. So and they say later on also there's no karma and its results. So since they don't say there used to be karma and its results, but then it became non-existent, you'd have to say that they are also not proponents of nihilism, if that interpretation of Nagarjuna is correct. So that is a misinterpretation of Nagarjuna. What Nagarjuna is talking about, he's addressing the realists. The realists, because they say that things exist by nature and then later on become non-existent, then that means that they have that extreme view of nihilism. So in other words, in their case, it is true that they first of all say that something existed and then became non-existent. So in the case of the Charvakas, they didn't say that, right? Mm-hmm. But in the case of the realists, it's true that they say first of all they exist by nature, and then later on they become non-existent. So and that's how they become, they fall prey to this nihilistic view. It's not saying that everybody who has the nihilist view should have said it existed earlier and then later on became non-existent, like in the case of the Charvakas, who never did say that the things existed previously and then became non-existent. They say right, from the very beginning, there was no karma and its results. And later on, also no karma and its results. So the realists are not the same as the Charvakas. The Charvakas say, that the karma and its results never did exist, and later on they also say it doesn't exist. In the case of the realists, they would say these things do exist and then later become non-existent. Like the plant, the sprout. It did exist, they say. It existed. It did used to exist by nature. Then later on it becomes non-existent. And so then Nagarjuna is saying, well, in that case, you're nihilists.
Rahingi Druba Yebachi Narkela Nichi Shibatasuni Chetal Negri, Citizen Baraluti, Tajikitani the Drote Timbari. Tajikitani Cheta the Drote Timbari, Cheta Narashigi Yeba Chi Shibatawati, Cheta did the Drote Timberba. Mamadi Tajikitani Shungri is shamed. Raluti Tajikitani the Drote shamed. Rashi Gutuban Mari Yuba Kelly, Chishi Batawati, Cheddar never the Galia Lula, the Kelling Yamarwa. Did it teach Cheddar Tamja Gagrives in Marisiri? 디 장배디 체단을 내버리디 아니 니 그래서 우리 다시 그런 말이 니 치매스지 걔는 뭐 말아봐 최근 여러 시 메시지 최근 이제 때는 메시지 라시기 들었어야 돼 라시기 들었다 매번이 집도 뒤네 세 말을 라시기 들 시라시 메시스니 시기야 말 디 장배기 다단다디 라루기 파 엄마가 그때 다지게 타니도 저 스카인도 라루라 나를 시기 주가 유엔에 캐년이 70바 따왔더라 라루리야 말에서 캐는 게 봐. 되게 니 체도가 문제가 말이지. 체단 메네버티 티셔버 라루티. 디진도다 되게 체도 탐제가 그래서 디 말이지. 디 체도가 장비도 디가는 말 봐. 장비도 말이여 봐. 치매가 따왔디 장비도 디파까기 까기야 말 봐. 장비가 니가 말이 라시고 주가 추던데 라시 맞으세요. 매버다게 추던 메시게.
장매바데. 장매베. 라시기 말로.
나 마시 그스게르 봐. 라시 매버다 매버니 집도 숨네 다게르 봐. 근데 뭐 마와게 라시기 주가 강실라 체규진기 돌진 가버디 캐는 게르 봐. 그래서 미국에서 먹고 간가 라시기 주세요. 체규진게 대체인도 좀 직시게르 봐. 시바 캐는 게르 봐. 매버 캐는 게르 매주아. 뒤뒤 치면 어디지? 이 제대로 되게 시주점 바람으로 뒤지 아직 단위도 저걸 내버. 다다다 제대로 내버. 제대로 저걸 내버. 제대로 많이 버티 땡기여. 어디지? 어디지? 제대로 내버 좀 봐나 시들. 라루라 제대로 나리 이어가는 식으로 그렇게 시를 요즘 시부기 체다 어디야 말아라로 따지게 타니도 제시디 이게 따지게 타니도 디림바 라이시기 왔다나 하는 다들 내그리스 라이시기 와시기 치매봤다나 체다네 내그리스 해디 파견다 말아 라루 따지게 타니도 저한테 캐는 줄 알아. 뒤에서 따다라 매네버티 말이 제 라시기 제라시 시버다에 체다 매버티 체다는 매네버티 라루 캐네르 봐. 따지게 타니도 저한테 어디서
So yeah, this passage again, where Nagarjuna says, to say it exists is a conception of permanence, to say it does not exist is a view of annihilation. So the meaning is that that existing by nature or existing naturally is the permanent extreme. And then existing naturally, and then later on becoming non-existent, that's the nihilist extreme. Yeah, the nihilist extreme. So the realists, when Nagarjuna points out that the realists actually, in a sense, guilty of, both of these extremes, or asserting both of these extremes, he's also showing us that the middle way is free of both, because he's pointing these two things out as false. So since he's pointing them out as false, then we know that as far as he's concerned, in the middle way philosophical system, we're free of those two faults. So it's not showing that all proponents of nihilist view become proponents of nihilist view in that way, by saying that something first of all exists and then becomes non-existent later, because the Charavakas would then not be proponents of nihilism, because they don't say that, for example, karmic results and so on existed previously and then became non-existent. They say right from the beginning that it didn't exist, and later on it's also non-existent. So in fact, they conflate existing and existing by nature. So when they say doesn't exist by nature, means it doesn't exist at all. When they say it doesn't, when they say it doesn't exist, means it doesn't exist by nature. So in this way, they say all phenomena like completely non-existent. In the case of the realists, they do say that, for example, in the case of a sprout, it exists, it came into being, and for a while it existed, and then later on became non-existent. No.
Chiti Shiva Kelimber Marba, the Meti, Karesine, Chitunjara Mebatara. Mumawagi, Yugula Subarashi Druvatara, Yugula Subarashi Druvata, Chitu Jagit Shiva Tadra, Chetala Tetu Resilura. Aralu the Chetala Meneva Tujitila, Chitunjara, Meba Kelimbati, repeated to get. Kumama Chitunja, the Shiva to Kelimba, and the Chetal to wear. You did. Ralula Chetal minted the rain. Umaba Chetal may never did to cheat caress and Chitunja, never marvels.
Chetal may never use a lot, and it dancing maybe.
No, Mama, the Chetal starting tiny from Yagi, caressing. Student generation to a killing, but received to a killing Sunday. One under that you could. One ended is marry you, she made a sin. Then he made it to this year. That Danuti, the Taji Tani Minevik to Jitilla, Chetan Minevik to Jitilla, children generation will never do it. Draw a age of it. Rashi, Rango to the Rashi, Twitter, and never canning, but you tend to try and see Taje, Cheddar and never, Cheddar never, Dumbati, Cheddar never, Dumbati, Garesina, Lula Cheddar never, Dumbati. No one of my hanging to the Rashi, Twitter me, I'm never can, but Canberra. Did you get to draw it? Killing but you get to draw it in Michigan. Draw inky. Chetatam jetica maris. Oh, did it? Yadalu Chetal manager, Timid the Caresna. Chetan Jara to but you then came in. No more like you and the Taji Tiny. Who are killing. Take it easy, children that I see to be killing by yourself. The Taji Tani, Nigal, Taji Tanigal, Lumar to create temperature. Ranu did Chetan Minepatic, carried to kick carried to break. The racing to but you then came in, but they took.
No. The Prasangika system does not dwell in the does not dwell in either in the extreme of nihilism, and the reason that they state for why phenomena do not dwell as the nihilist extreme is that they don't have even the slightest existence by nature. They don't even have like a particle of existence by nature. The realists would say that the sprout, for example, exists by nature, and then they say that such a sprout later on, because of a change in cause and conditions, becomes non-existent, and that would have to be, that kind of non-existence would have to be the nihilist extreme. So this really contrasts with the Prasangika system, which says that that the reason things, that uses the reasoning of not existing by nature to negate the nihilist extreme. Things don't exist in the nihilist extreme because they don't have even the slightest existence by their own nature. So in our system, we would say things do not exist in the permanent extreme because they don't exist by their own nature. So here, what Nagarjuna is doing, he's refuting the view of the realists and pointing out that they would be, dwelling in the extreme of existence or permanence by saying that things exist by nature, and then in the nihilist extreme by saying that such a thing existing by nature later on becomes non-existent. That would be the nihilist extreme. No.
Tadich. Talende never debe chetavata mindere. Judin sheni tisele kebrasundi. Didara chetavani lendeta jide paru never debala dela. Uma bani didara singi never debe tamjala kebayus. Tadi. That Lende member debe chedawasini campaign siye. Lende member debe chedaw ta campaign lende member debe siye. Karesine lende member debe jiten paru yamaris. Kyo ngachi yamaris. Tati kyo ngachi metan te kyo ngachi jiten paru matunga chis campaign matunga isane me siye. Campaign ta Kurang matunga kangolo mensi. Marantu tersam cheri chena cheri te jibar jimbar cheri tigi kurang thoya kangolo ti taje je yeba kelingera kurang matunga to negu tele meva kelingera. Tide jibaje Kurang daje jen matunga tele tatani meva taji yerba. Tide jibari camping kurang matunga tele mensi. Tide ngamani hane tere pin mire jawali. Yan mine jawachimal par jawali batusu matunga insan tide paru yamaris. Ani lende yamaris. Tide tile sampu jenenda. Nemba jenenda. Chimalan nami yabatin tugasya diya yamaris. Ni jesene lende yamaris. Chedila susu jigara jenu tigiyaris. Yadu karini jenu tigiyaris. Tuga jene chimat tunge yagi yamaris nami. Yaga jene chimat nami yabu yamaris. Ati insan jite paru yamaris. Tati 제다 인지디 디르가.
So in the case of like how things what follows when you have this permanent extreme, nihilist extreme, we can understand by thinking about the Charvaka system, which I mentioned here is the Lokayatas or something like that. So they say that there are no past and future lives. So this is how they become nihilist. They say there are no past and future lives. Why do they say there are no past and future lives? Because they can't see them. They say that if they can't see it, that means it doesn't exist. Whatever they can't see, they conclude doesn't exist. And this is quite like present modern day scientists who say if you can do some kind of experiment which establishes something exists, then you know that it exists. If you can't detect it, if you can't see it, then that means that it doesn't exist. You can't say it exists because the checking doesn't show that it exists. So that's very much like the Charvaka system. They don't see various other forms of life, such as gods and so on, coming into this life and being born as humans. They don't see human beings going off and being born in other realms. So they say, therefore, these things don't exist. There's no past lives. We don't have a past life. We don't have a future life. There's just this life. And so they also conclude that you don't get good ripening results from doing good actions. You don't get bad ripening results as a result of bad actions. Whatever you do is okay. It doesn't have any effect.
치셀레스 야바숨 니다르 체다와니 렌데당 지덴 파르 메버 데라 우마바니 데다라 히메바 데베 담자가 켜바유도 스제스다 우마베 렌데당 존 나치 메 라시니 메바 두그리 메바 두마리 체다와기 단데 체다와기 렌데다 지데 파르 메바 두그리 우마베 데다라 히메바 두그리 담자레 켜바야 레시메시게리 미슈지 메시게야 레시메시 두담바코 여바티코 공부이야리 땡기 장베기 뒤에 고고야 말이야 레시 레시 메시야티 메바 janjal시게 나타내디 디리 라이브는 제디 바라이브 메제디라 신면 메고 쳐라 신메세 메버티 집부터 엄마 땡기베 라신이 메세디 타니디 여버티 추주기 라신이 메버 말이서 라신이 메세디 메시기야 말아 어디서 담자를 켜봐야 돼 라시 메버 되베 담자를 켜봐야 봐 우마바니 렌데서 되다 땡땡이비 주쟁기라시다 우마베 그래서네 렌데서 라시 메버디 되다데 그래 땡땡이사 아니 라시 메시게 그래서 그래 제다와디 렌데 던지데 파를 매번도 매번에서 라시 메시게 렌데 던지데 파를 매번에서 라시 메시게 우마베 라싱이 메시야디 땡땡이사 라시 메시게 그 주제 카바레스마 다 제다와도 속에 렌데를 속에도 라싱이 메시야디 매번 있었어요. 땡큐베 랜드를 속도 라신이 메세 댄드 인사스 대디 인사분이 개바도가
So then somebody might say a little bit further down the text, I think we've moved back to page 58, 150 actually. In different way, Madhamikas are also unlike those who have the other type of view of annihilation. Yeah, anyway, somewhere around that. So the thing is, we so the realists don't see a difference between non-existing and not existing by nature. So if something doesn't exist by nature, for them it means it doesn't exist. In the Prasangika system, there is the idea that phenomena don't exist by nature, but not that they don't exist. There's a distinction made. So they don't exist by nature, but they do exist. The realists say it doesn't exist by nature and doesn't exist, they're the same thing. So we would say existing by nature, sorry, not existing by nature, but not non-existent. So there's a big difference in the big difference in the way that things are asserted between the Prasangikas and like the Charvakas. How it works is like this. In the middle way system, we would say karma and its results don't exist by nature. Why? Because of being dependent arising. Because they're dependent arising, dependent originations, therefore they don't exist by nature. The Charavakas say that there's no such thing as karma and its results. There's no such thing as past and future lives. So they don't exist at all, therefore they don't exist by nature. So why they say they don't exist by nature is because they think they don't exist at all. If they don't exist at all, of course they don't exist by nature. The reason that the Prasangikas say, the Madhyamikas say that the karma and results, past and future lives don't exist by nature isn't because they think they don't exist at all, but because they think they don't exist by nature. Sorry, they think they don't exist by nature because they're dependent arising. So it's very different. Both of them are saying, come to the conclusion, they don't exist by nature. The Charvakas say don't exist by nature. Why? Because they don't exist at all. The Prasangikas say they don't exist by nature because they're dependent arising.
Umapani, Lende so Teta, Tende in the Judengi, Ransing Mepa Mala, Mepa Pani, Lende so Teta, Tende Yimba, Metube, Di Juden to Michiki, Tadargi Simje Di Jiden Namane, Diruata. Dene Chimaru Dua, Matunga Juden to Chene, that Matunga Juden to Chesun, the Mebadi, Judichi, Chitechima Meba. 지den가만이 뒤를 용하던 뒤에 치면도 매버디 마통아티 규iten도 전에 다들 신메스게로 신메버디 매버지 거래 어디 예선이 규iten 되면서나 산 매버디 규iten 그랬었지 다들 있음제 지대 나만에 다들 있음제티 지대 나만에 아니 조나마지네 디네데 용바 마리스 아니 디로와 마와다 데네치마 디네다 완두그레스네 니키 개와치마는 두그레스야데 두아티 마토네 마토가 규제도 제네 때메버 마와리스 네 규제 개버 체디 디제.
And so they say that past and future lives don't exist, and because of that, they don't exist by nature. Because they don't see a difference between not existing by nature and not existing at all. If something doesn't exist, it means it doesn't exist by nature. That's all it means to say that something doesn't exist by nature, that it doesn't exist. So they say that the reason they say that the past and future lives don't exist is because they don't see them. They don't see sentient beings coming from past lives to this. They don't see sentient beings going from this life to a future life. Therefore, past lives don't exist. Therefore, future lives don't exist. Because they don't exist by nature. Because they don't see them, they don't exist. Because they don't exist by nature.
다드네 식세레 이렇게까지 엄마바니 매바바다 제발 매디스 다 같이 엄마바시니 매바다 체다바다 켜봐야 말이스 강기치를 겨와다 매게 레다 제바보다 제보다 지대 탄제 라시게 동벌마와이라 매바바 대다 라시 매도 대다 매도시 매도시 마와 제가 임비치 다디 가지기 되세요. 다 엄마바다 체다와니 지버레스 엄마바에 주던 라시 매시도가 이 체다와도 속에 주던지 매바케 라시 매바 매스기를 라시 같이 등만마와 누구 전에 신기 매바다 매바지 버봐 rangiba meche tiki rashiki mene mego sigara wa ta chesa tengiba ti chetawa ta jibara sigara kare desene chetawa di chudumja rashiki meba kyanin kerwa dina shi tengiba chudumja rashiki meba kyanin kerwa cheta ta jibara meba kyanin chudumja meba mesigara ta kanje kyanin diyara sigara
And then let's see. I think this one is the one that's at the right at the top of page 150. In a different way, Madhyamikas, so certain scholars say, Madhyamikas are also unlike, so this is the argument against, unlike those who have the other type of annihilation of view in which itself the karma and its effects do not exist. And that's difficult to find out exactly where it is in the English text, I'm sorry. But anyway, what this the part of this the text that he's talking about is this. There are certain scholars who say there's no difference between the Madhyamikas and the nihilists, because both of them say that karma, its results, past and future lives, don't exist by nature. So the realists all say that if it exists by nature. If it doesn't exist by nature, it doesn't exist, right? So for them, the nihilists say that these things don't exist. So that's the same as saying they don't exist by nature. The Madhyamikas say that they don't exist by nature. So they're the same. What's the difference? So that's what this certain scholars say.
That lula never she mawa in the teacher omabata nebata chabameto shukuachela. They are my Indies. That anubi Umbabatani Tenji Devajuma mawa in la. Shingi made Tenji in the HCS. Tenji in the Chesida Shingi never you think to you, but to do in here. The Umapani Tenji Devajuma mawa in la. Tenji Devajuma Cherry, Jitan Titan, Jitan Parubala Soba Tamje. Rashimeba Mawa Chedo, Tenji Yesa Rashigi Maturis. Any Jidentita Jidechma Tamjet Rashigi Meba Yesani, Tenjiris. Tenji in Babmas Mawa Yesani, turn it to what killing there. You ever killing to her. Yes, are Rashigi messing it, secret. You ever Yesani? Yena Karesine Tendi Inguer. Turn it to Guer. Turn it to a senator. Racing Messi is.
So actually, where we are is we're looking at the quote from Chandrakirti's Clear Words on page 150, where he says, some say that Madhyamikas are no different from nihilists. Why? Because Madhyamikas propound that virtues and non-virtues are agents, actions, and effects, as well as all the worlds of this and other lifetimes are empty of intrinsic existence, while nihilists also propound that those are non-existent. So they're conflating existence with existing by nature and not existing by nature and not existing, aren't they? So for this reason, they say that the Madhyamikas don't differ from the nihilists. And then Chandrakirti, in that very same text, he immediately, gives the reply to that, the rebuttal. So what he says is that the Madhyamikas say that that these things, past, future lives, karma as results, and so on, don't exist by nature because they're dependent arising. They're dependent arisings, therefore they don't exist by nature. Past and future lives are dependent arisings, which means that they exist dependently. That means that they exist. So the very reasoning for why they don't exist by nature is that they exist. So they're starting off with the idea they exist. They're dependent arising, so they exist. For that reason, they don't exist by nature. They don't exist by nature because they're dependent arising. So in this way, they're very different from the nihilists.
That Jida Parable, so Mobile never toba Maidis, when I teaches Jida Mebaba Dagi, the Tartanji Temperature in which I think Tomba Niki, Gone, Jida Parula Soba, Mobile never toba Maris, Jida Parus, Dandy in Baku thinking, Racing mess, toba Maris. When I teaches Jidenti Mobile number ranking means Jidenti mobile number ranking mean Jiden Parune Diriwata Jidenti mobile number ranking means current 2 years. Jidenti Kansati 2 years. Inia Jidenti Kansati number the mean, Jide Paru, Jide Paru to do a say, Miki Yamara, Haku Yamara. Never is a cook. Jide Paru to mean, Jide Paru name, Diri Watam. Jide Dine Paru to draw Matunature. Then Jide di Haku Yerba. Then Jide di Jide didn't Paru ne treats Diri Joalemba. Dine Chimale Kivalim, but Mato is an amazing. Just landed Kivan Messi at the Dirva. Or the Mipa Mine, did the Parune Dirwata. Jiden Tene Parutua Matun ne, Jiden Tiri Mipe Mubotang Dare. Moboshen Tala, no Goa de Brechetos, Jide di Mipe Mobocherbata, Kansati Mipe Yerba. Dedan Dare, Jide Paru, Joanama, Joachima, to Sulagoa de Biarich, the Moboshen Tala, Goa de Bacheba, share some souls, yeah.
So the thing is, as far as they're concerned, these nihilists, like the Charakas, they can see the things of this life. They can see there is a person in this life, so they accept the existence of such things. They don't see the person of this life going on to a future life. They don't see, like the person of the previous life coming to this life. Because they don't see them, they say they don't exist. And that's why they say there are no past and future lives. So they, they have that fault of the denial of past and future lives. No. So I think we can stop there, and I can take questions.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche. My question relates to the teaching that you gave us last week. And last week, when you taught us that the Sanghikas say that no things exist by their own nature, and also no non-things exist by their own nature. Then later on, you also explained that what are the no non-things? And it was explained that it's like empty space, a mere absence of tangibility and obstruction.
It's the same thing.
And it's permanent. And then you also explained that this type of permanence of non-things is called occasional permanence. That means, for example, like the example was given, like emptiness of a vase. And when vase is broken, and then the space within it cease to exist. So as long as the vase exists, then the space inside it exists. So that was an example of the occasional permanence of space, of non-thing, of empty space. And then you also mentioned about the non-occasional permanence of non-thing. And I would like to ask if you would elaborate on that further and give
that one, the one which is not an occasion.
the not occasional permanence. Yes. Thank you.
The given which is the dingola and the rengawa tapat isumbarwa. The rengawa maimpe and the tapat in the yore sumbares. The deep qualities soon has been a better jonas. Rengawa maimpe tapat.
지다 난가디renga 마이베 타바지 강걸을 켰대 뒤기 된도 켰대 강걸을 등급이 담제 있던 켰대 renga 마이바세디 renga 와세디 가시나유 뒤가시나유 뒤가시나네 시가시나유 시가시나 메버지가 rengawe tapasigerba. Tatandeti nangasingerote. Seati tamjelecha. Ji ngobu kende jine ngobu du sudin do chabare. Desete do khochi gden do ji deyati pu nanga yusan chabarba. Tongsa nanga di hoyasan ani tini detu yarba. Nangati mene tuji gitendu ya tuji shidati bumbe sopana du mambu yarba dine tuyade ko nanga yusarba tongchet tongsanti di mebi na ni jiji gongi ni dose mere.
Okay, so if you want something, an example of something which is not an occasional permanent, then space itself. So not like the space inside the vase, that would be an occasional one. Space, uncompounded space. That's sort of like permeates everything, or pervades everything. When we say occasional, maybe we need another word, because it sounds like it's all going to be always to do with time, right? But it's not just to do with time. An occasional permanent would be something which is permanent, which is there sometimes and not there at other times, which is exists on certain phenomena but doesn't exist on other phenomena. That would be an occasional permanent. So in the case of space, this non-compounded space, the mere absence of obstructiveness and tangibility, that's everywhere. So it's there on every kind of atom, every molecule, because we wouldn't have the possibility of there being a molecule and then another molecule next to that and next to that next to that. You wouldn't have the possibility of that build up if there weren't space. So it's from that point of view that that space permeates everything.
I'm still confused about the occasional permanence. So does that mean what does the permanent part mean? That as long as it is in existence, it's unchanging? Like unlike a sprout, which is changing moment to moment, the space inside the vase is not changing while it is in its occasional permanence.
And ko benada Bombay nangi anita Tony di ane ringawita taparwa.
Lady.
Jason ko ringawi but it is sabuto. That ko tapate shagwa kasna pena ngobo yena ne kiji jigdogidwa. No, tani Bombay nanlogi the Tony di kiji jigdogidwa. 디 channel tapare sigri.
지금아리스. 깨지깨지를 거 깨지해요. 깨지막 말해. 깨지가 있는 메다가 이거야. 깨지깨지를 지어야 말이 그 깨지 당분이 없어야 말해.
just 디 인상이 곧 tapala기도 디 매차. Yeah, that's exactly it. When something is a thing or impermanent, that means it's changing moment by moment. When something is a non-thing or permanent, it's not changing moment by moment. So the space inside of the vase doesn't change moment by moment. It's not subject to destruction due to or dependent upon causing conditions. That's why it's called permanent.
So then we started out this teaching talking about if something, it's a wrong view to say that something has always existed and then ceases to exist completely, but it's okay to say that this space inside the vase comes into existence and then ceases to exist because it's imputed by the mind. That's why it's not problematic for it to cease to exist forever.
In other words, when you say that the space inside the vase didn't exist before, then it exists for a while and then doesn't exist, why is that not like a nihilist?
Because
why is that a nihilism? Is that what you're asking?
It's not nihilism because it's imputed.
Because,
it's not the correct view.
Tapena Bumbenangi Kaznangarius cheated the Meba Chana and the Chitaris Chochis Sundva. No.
There's a Koran never inside, could never check.
No, not just on the Bumbenangi and it Tony de Narme. The need Juma the years Yobarwa. Then he called the Mebachasons, as the Bumbat Kron, the Mebachana and Kron Mebachaki to us. That the Cheta Maimbe, Kunsin Kasna, Cochiran Mebachas, you need Tobetasan res, Tobetasan Isa, and it Cheta Mares, your res, did res.
Mebachas said, could you hear?
No.
Bumbetingi. Tumbati made to Tamba Nico Betingi and Angatita Mandori, Tumiti Mandori. Inia, Tendukatam Gimenga Chiarva, they could Chagipina Mangati could dedere. That Pumba Mess and Pumbeting the mess yet the Pumba Messare. Prat never a domare. Betting TV. Nervity to servati Mevcharva. Just a mess level. Nico 자원이 매부 쳐기를 했으니 저 자원이 매부 쳐야 말 그러기 그네 되어 봐. 분바 매스 분바 디시 두두 그랬대 동차 지하를 봐. 분바디 분바 신에 분바디 신에 봐. 분바를 신에 봐디 분바 신차주 분바를 신에 봐디 야를 봐.
No. 아니 왜 잡아서?
야 분바를 신에 쓰리.
No.
분배 땡기는 신에 봐디 내려 봐. 분바를 신에 봐디 야래.
아.
가와이티 분바를 신에 봐리. 가와이티도 분바 야 말아 봐. 분바를 신에 봐 야를 봐. 분바를 신만 둘 봐.
No. 가와이티도 디 다음 라지메로 요마라.
아.
분배텐도 아까때 가와이텐도 분바란지메로 요마레스. 지는
분바를 신에 봐들 봐.
제선도 분바 메버 차도 분배텐기데 돈이디 메버 차도 마토데 분바란지메로 메버 차마서.
분바를 신에 봐 시에는 분바 연년다 분바 매년다 분바를 신에 봐. 분바 매주도 분바를 신 툭툭 말아 봐. 분바 매주도 분바를 신 툭툭 말아 봐. 분바를 신에 봐.
So we have to make quite a fine distinction here. So actually, there's the emptiness of the vase and the emptiness on the vase. These are two separate things. When the vase becomes non-existent, the emptiness on the vase becomes non-existent, but the emptiness of the vase doesn't become non-existent. That would continue existing.
Can you say that with a song?
Then in the case of the for example, if we look, so we often consider like a vase and pillar, right? So there's in general, there is a vase, right? But on the pillar, there's no vase. So in a similar way, when the vase exists, there's the emptiness of the vase on the vase. So you can talk about the emptiness on the vase. That becomes non-existent when the vase becomes non-existent, but the emptiness of the vase doesn't become non-existent. That would carry on. There would still be that, like a non-affirming negation.
Bomba 매주도 bomba를 신 툭툭 말아 봐. 나시 매 bomba 차선에 bomba를 신에 봐.
They come never chance on any good bumper ranching tuba chagi, right?
책 말아 봐. 나시 맞춰야 돼.
Yeah, the thing is, if you were to say that when the vase becomes non-existent, that the emptiness of the vase becomes non-existent. If the emptiness of the vase becomes non-existent, that would mean the vase would become inherently existent.
Say that again.
Think about it. When we talk about the emptiness of the vase, we're talking about the vase's non-existence by nature.
Yeah.
If that doesn't exist, then you have to say it exists by nature. That's what it means. Yeah.
So is that the reason when I asked last week why the emptiness of the vase or the space inside the vase isn't indirectly dependent on the existence of the vase? That distinction is why that's true.
So the space inside of the vase,
or the emptiness on the vase, is not indirectly dependent on the vase because of that distinction.
And that's too much for me. Say that again.
Well, remember last week I asked, why doesn't the emptiness on the vase or the space inside the vase, why doesn't it depend on causes and conditions? Because if the vase ceases to exist, then it ceases to exist. But the distinction you just made is the answer to that, right? That's
Okay.
the distinction.
Chesa moda di tinge madela. Ani bumbe tingi toni dian. You can let tebarawas.
네.
Bumbukrande gugan tebara.
네.
Ani the
매든 돈이 규정이 되신 말이
No.
대대 인식이.
no.
똑바로 되리. 나도 지금 똑바로 되리. 차세는 되리.
No. Chesa the bumbe tingi toni di ani the gudan can let tembamara.
규정이 되는 말이.
No.
기존에 때기는 뭐 보인 거래.
No. Yeah, the thing is, you can't say that the emptiness of the vase depends upon cause and conditions. As soon as you say it depends on cause and conditions, that means that it's something which is impermanent. Yeah.
It's starting to go together.
Kalila literally does.
Okay, so subtle impermanence is not the same thing as emptiness. But subtle impermanence is the same as gross level of dependent arising? No. What's the relationship between subtle impermanence and dependent arising?
Subtle impermanence.
Yeah, and dependent arising. What's the relationship between those two?
처음에 답봤던 아니 땡땡이를 개박하려 그랬어.
땐데 답안이 이제 당민이가 여러.
그러면.
처음에 달은 뭐 보인 미쳐.
Well, one very clear difference is that when we say dependent arising, that includes both permanent phenomena and impermanent phenomena. Subtle impermanence has to be, like an impermanent phenomenon.
쉐드는 땐데 이미 겹스리. 쉐드는 처음에 답은 이미 겹스인 말봐.
No.
분바다 너 분바다 가와도 메타버리티 처음에 답은 말봐.
So, like for example, we would say absolutely everything which exists is a dependent arising, but we wouldn't say that everything which exists is a subtle impermanence, right?
처음에 답은 유아 참으신 거래.
When you
유의 차들.
no, when we talk about subtle impermanence, we're talking about subtle change.
I just have a small question on her question. Do you define space of the vase and emptiness of vase are they the same?
The space inside the vase
and emptiness of the vase are you? I mean,
are these different?
Are they different or are they the same? What's your definition?
Then bumbi tengi toni dang ane bumbi tengi ane bumbi nalogi ane te namkati dinile kabayores. Yeah, there's a difference.
bumbe tingi bumbe nalo nagati bumbe tingi tuni marba.
So, for example, the space inside of the vase is not the emptiness of the vase.
bumbe tingi tuni se to bumbe tingi kazum chachiyari.
No.
Indu pakan no bumbe rashi to kazum chachiyarba. Kile tuni sirba. Bumbe tingi nagaseti 지다 토리 가좀 기찬이 샤리 토리 가좀 기 맹가 슈구티는 시구도 가좀 기 맹가 지죠.
When we talk about the emptiness of the vase, we're talking about a mere absence of existing by nature.
Yeah.
When you talk about the space of the vase, the space inside the vase, you're talking about something which is a mere absence of tangibility and obstructiveness. So what's being negated in both cases, in each case, is very different. One is the existence by nature. One is tangibility and obstructiveness.
Yeah, that's
So we'll stop there. Idegyan bade sangye jindu midya togunanda jinga shakara guru ranamanda kanye ataya
chanju sanju
rimboche magye kone kondu tavara sho
ani
Kowe shingam
te pendandewa mare chone jene zewa tenzen gyatso Sabe site badu tenju chi